I've played the Ouija board more than a few times when I was younger. I was interested in all things occult. I spoke to many different entities or spirits throughout the years, with some scary experiences sprinkled in there. But the one that sticks out the most is probably one of the few times I played right before getting rid of it. I'd been playing with this board for years at this point. I used to love bringing it out and showcasing it in front of any skeptics. I used to ask questions that no one but that person could know the answer to, in order to prove I wasn't moving it. There was even an entity that would communicate with me often in the house I grew up in. He'd describe following me around or have opinions on things that happened to me or friends I'd start hanging out with or bringing over. So at this point you can imagine I felt a false sense of security in the fact that I've been able to play the Ouija board and handle whatever it comes with. It's Friday night and one of my best friends, D, wants to spend the night. We're somewhere around 8th or ninth grade. My mom had just moved us out of our childhood home and into a trailer with her new boyfriend. So it was one of my first times playing here. We watched a scary movie, The Others, that night, ate junk food, and ended up passing out as we weren't getting a whole lot of movement in the Ouija. The next morning we woke up to some howling wind and an empty house. I figured my mom must have gone out to the store or something. We realized at some point that the power was out. We didn't think much of it because it was extremely windy outside. This is before the days of cell phones, so all we had was a digital clock that was powered by a battery. My home phone was down because of the power. It wasn't a problem though because it was still bright outside. And we had food. We also were sure the power would be back at any moment. So we proceeded to eat the food in the fridge before it went bad and decided to bring out the Ouija board, since there was nothing else to do. Can we play? That's always the first question to start the game. Yes. At this point we begin to ask questions. Where did my mom go? The Ouija board replied, store. What time will she be back? The Ouija board replied, 11:23. It's only answering my questions, but not D's. I ask why. It spells out, bitch. At this point, it starts spelling out bitch over and over again. I felt like it was too aggressive, so I tried ending the game by rubbing over the goodbye sign and putting it back in the box. Wasn't the first time we ever encountered aggression, so we continued to hang out, eating and laughing. Then we hear the outer back door swing open. No one comes in. We look at the digital clock and it's 11:23. Oh shit, it's the exact time. I turned to D in disbelief. My mom must have groceries. Let's go help her bring them in. We go outside and the carport is empty. No one is home. Weird. But okay, that was a coincidence, and I chalk it up to the doors on the trailer being too light and the wind just have opened it up. I lock the door and return inside to finish eating my cereal. Maybe 5 seconds pass and the door swings open again. At this point I'm a little scared, but trying to explain it away with the wind. I tell D to come with me to close the door and lock it so I make sure I do it right this time. We do. We return to eating and talking. Now the door swings open again, and we both saw me use the big lock. There's an outer back door, a tiny room for laundry, and another door to get into the rest of the trailer. At this point, the outer door and the main door both start swinging open and closing violently and fast. I'm frozen. Since both doors are swinging so aggressively, everything in the fridge and the counter starts flying off. Papers from the fridge are literally flying around the room. It was like a scene out of The Exorcist. At this point, it's non-stop. It felt loud and chaotic, and I felt a feeling of absolute terror. I ran for the couch like a little kid. We hid under the blanket from the last night, crouched together, and scared. I was watching it and it seemed surreal. I grew up Catholic, although my family didn't go to church anymore. The only prayer I could think of was of Our Father. So I started basically chanting it over and over, and then after about a minute or so, all of a sudden, it stopped. The papers from the fridge all fall to the ground. The doors slam shut, everything stops flying around, and it's quiet. I found out later my mom was never at the store. She picked up an extra shift at work that Saturday. There was no meaning or significance behind that exact time it gave me, except that that's when it started to harass us. I've had many experiences with Ouija boards, from seeing entities in your home after using it, to things being moved around, or feeling of not being alone, or even prophecies of the age of my death. Throughout all those experiences, I can definitely say it is dangerous. Whatever you speak to mixes in lies with truth when answering. They know more about what's happened than what will happen in the future. Luckily, I was never possessed or anything like that. Ever since, I can say I do think I've opened the door to things following me or being around me. As I've moved around as an adult, they are never quite gone completely. But it's not near as frightening for me now because I have faith, and that's what keeps me grounded. A faith that sprouted from that day.